Finally, partnering with Softstar Entertainment. Softstar is a Taiwan-based developer. They have a 20-year franchise game, the Paladin series. New game that they've announced earlier this year called Sword and Fairy 7. Millions and millions of China gamers love this franchise and are super excited about Sword and Fairy 7. We're announcing today that we're teaming up with Sword and Fairy 7 to bring real-time ray tracing to this game. Softstar is so excited about this partnership that today they are releasing, and we are going to show you for the first time, the video trailer for Sword and Fairy 7. So let's give this a run. All right. Notice the reflections. If you notice the light bouncing off a light, lighting other environments, you'll see red coming from the plane, you'll see red in all the walls around it. Ray tracing really brings cinematic and beauty into games. And we're super excited about this partnership with Softstar and Sword and Fairy 7. Okay, so talked about new markets, talked about reinventing and renewing markets. Well, there's one more frontier that we want to talk about today. And that is creators. I mentioned every child born today is a gamer, and every child born today is a creator. There's 23 million YouTube channels. 400 hours of video are uploaded to YouTube every day. It's pretty amazing. But in YouTube, in all this noise, you've got to get noticed. In all this noise. How do you get noticed? You get noticed by increasing the quality of your content. Requires a much more thoughtful, skilled approach than just your phone. 25% of the global workforce are freelancing. Over half of the millennials in the US are freelancing, working for themselves, independence, and many of these are working in the creative field. That's obvious from Adobe's Behance program. I don't know if you're familiar with this. It's a portal inside of Adobe's ecosystem that allows freelancers to share their work with clients online. There's over 14 million Behance creators today and that number is growing rapidly. Digital media has transformed how movies and TV shows are being distributed. Once again, in all that clutter, the quality of the content, the production value of the content is super important. 300,000 movies and TV episodes just this year. It's a staggering number. And the workflows of all this content is getting more and more complex. Requires more and more skill and more specialized hardware. So the opportunity inside of the creator market, we believe, is immense. And this is an opportunity that we plan on partnering with our ecosystem to go build and go drive. So why isn't it solved today? A creator who wants to buy hardware, wants to get the right tool for the right job, where do they go? Workstations, and this is a market we're very familiar with. Independent creators need to have accessibility. They need to be able to find the hardware. Workstations are generally a B2B type product. They're sold to large enterprises. They're also fairly expensive. So workstation market does not reach the broad field of creators around the world. Well, what about the Mac? It turns out, while the Mac has solved the distribution problem, the performance of the Mac is underpowered for a majority of creators. The workflow the Mac is great at is photos. But creative workflows are becoming more and more complex, as I mentioned. 3D rendering, 3D images are becoming more and more important to differentiate your work or become a part of your work. And 3D creators generally don't find the Mac to be the best platform for their work. And more of them are moving over to PC. The same is true with video. Video has 3D integration, and video resolutions are moving up from 6K to 8K and becoming more and more challenging where they need higher performance hardware. Gaming PCs. Why not just buy a gaming PC? Well, the creators we have talked to generally aren't that attracted to RGB. Those of you who know what I'm talking about. A lot of lights. Also, gaming PCs can lack the features necessary for creators. High resolution displays, enough system memory, large frame buffers for giant workflows, for giant workspaces. If you're trying to run multiple apps, which is a very typical use case among creators, a gaming PC can choke on that. And DIY, well, you can go build your own, but most creators want to focus on their work and are probably not that technical savvy to go build their own PC. We see it as a problem, and we see it as a pain point for creators. So we are announcing today what we call Nvidia Studio. Nvidia Studio is a platform that is built on our RTX GPUs. Creators need high performance. We're building Nvidia Studio on top of our RTX GPUs. Studio has a software stack. This may not be a well-known or understood fact, but well over half of NVIDIA engineers are software engineers. We build one GPU, and we go after and create new markets with a software stack that is deeply integrated into the ISV ecosystem of that market. We have a studio stack that I'll talk a little bit more about in a minute. Well-developed SDKs, drivers that are designed to bring the heart and soul of a native PC Perfect compatibility lab. You need to make sure the apps run. There's nothing worse to a creator than when they go to save their work and their PC hangs. That's a huge problem. Or they're moving between apps or windows and their PC hangs. Performance and compatibility is super important. We have a performance compatibility lab for our studio program. We're working with over 200 creative apps as a part of our studio platform. Creators need to know where and how to buy their PCs. We're working with all the top OEMs to make sure that Nvidia Studio PCs are available throughout the world to creators everywhere. And finally, we have a studio badge to indicate to a creator that this product is validated by Nvidia and the OEM for the highest compatibility and performance and suitable for their needs. The Nvidia Studio stack is our software stack built on top of our RTX GPUs. And it starts from the apps down with our SDKs. We have a broad range of rendering, video, and AI SDKs that are integrated into the creative apps so the creator gets instant access to all the capabilities of our GPUs. CUDA, which is our GPU accelerated language, translates the SDKs into what our GPUs can understand. And probably one of the most important attributes are our studio drivers. We launched about a month ago what we call our studio driver program. And our studio drivers are guaranteed compatible with the ISV apps. They run at a different cadence than our gaming drivers. Gamers want to make sure that their PC is lined up with every possible game that's launched. And we launch gaming drivers about every 2 to 4 weeks. Creators want to make sure that their system is compatible. They want it to be stable. They don't want a lot of churn. We will have a cadence of every few months, maybe once a quarter, a studio driver that is fully tested, downloaded from the cloud as an OTA into your studio-ready PC. And we're working closely with all of the top ISVs to test and fully validate our studio drivers and our stack along with their applications. The studio stack is really the heart and soul of the technology behind the studio program. So today, we're announcing the first Nvidia Studio laptops. And I've got one example here that we're going to talk about more in a little bit. Was it running app a minute ago? Studio laptops go all the way up to a Quadro RTX 5000, 16 gig frame buffer, 32 gig system memory. And that's what's in this laptop. In light. Find me a creator that's not going to get excited about this. High performance GPU, large frame buffer, large system memory, studio stack validated. Nvidia Studio laptops. So let's look a little bit at, let's look at the performance. Let's see if I can get back here. Let's look at the performance of these laptops. Ray tracing, I mentioned, becoming more and more important part of the workflow. Video editing. This is playing back a 6K video. You can see GPU accelerated compared to CPU. Let's do that one more time. Playing back, decoding, and deburying video in real time. Now it's possible on a Studio laptop. Finally, AI. Remember tensor cores in RTX GPU. This is an AI example of just washing out an image, a part in real time of an image. I can imagine that being useful for some of my pictures. And we've got some pretty cool demos I'm going to show you today. Performance. This is comparing our 2080 Max-Q Studio laptops to MacBook Pro. And of course, in workflow, when you're a creator, lower is better. 3 minutes to 24 minutes for 3D creation. Video, 3 minutes to 8 minutes video. Photos, 2 minutes to 10 minutes. Max-Q Studio laptop compared to Mac Pro. We don't mean to say Mac Pro is not a great product. What we mean to say is that our Studio platform and Studio laptops provide a huge opportunity for us to go after this creator market. So with that, I'm going to invite Jason Paul on the stage. Jason is our general manager of GeForce Platforms, my team, and we're going to walk you through what some of these workflows are with some very special guests. Thanks, Jason. Thanks, Jeff.
So RTX Studio laptops are going to change the way creators work. And rather than show you this with some technology demos, we've invited 4 amazing artists here to Computex, both from Taiwan and around the globe, to share their art and their experiences using these laptops. And first, I would like to introduce Leo Chow and Jacob Norris. Leo is the CEO of TC Image. This is a architecture and interior design studio based in Taiwan that does amazing work in tools like Unreal Image to visualize their interior spaces.
Hello, Leo. Hi, 大家好. My name is Leo. We are strong in architecture and interior design experience for more than 10 years, and top of architecture 3D render and animation. Right now, welcome Jacob. He's an Nvidia artist. He will show you real-time ray tracing in Chinese style interior. Please.
Let's take it away, Jacob.
Thanks a lot. So let's take a look here at this beautiful scene that Leo and I have collaborated on. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how ray tracing technology helps make the workflow so much easier with clients back and forth, and speeding up the process. Well, we're doing this in the Unreal Engine here. And basically, we can go ahead and finish out this living room that we've got. We still need to place some furniture in there. You can see all the real-time reflections working beautifully and the soft shadows coming in from the curtains there. We start putting in some of our couches. We can see the lighting updating and the shadows coming through. And in the past, when you're doing this, it would generally take hours to bake this scene out, calculate every photon bouncing around the room. And now it's done in seconds, so you can be with the client, showing them the furniture as you're placing it, and they can talk about, say maybe the fact that this room's getting a little dark as I start placing some of the furniture. So let's go ahead and add ourselves a light in, wherever you think it's going to be best. And I can tell you right then and there, oh, my wife actually likes it coming in from the window, kind of mimicking that same sort of soft lighting coming from the window right there. And as you're placing this stuff, you say, oh, maybe it's going to get a little cold in the wintertime. Let's go ahead and put a carpet down there, warm up your feet. the last little bit, let's light up this back area and get some cool shadows coming through this hand-carved, ornate wood structure that maybe your father put together for you. We're going to go ahead and increase the intensity just so you can really see those shadows come through and adjust the softness or the sharpness of shadows based off of the type of lighting you want to have in the space. Let's lighten the space up a little bit, put some things on the table here for us. Get a little plant in there. And maybe finish it off with something to excite your brain.
That's amazing. Thanks so much, Jacob. So everything in this scene, the reflections, lighting, shadows, ray traced in real time, and allows the artists and designers to work interactively with their clients, make adjustments to the lighting in the space, and make it perfect, just the way they want it, visualize it before they have to start building. Really amazing stuff. And so, Jacob, you've been traveling for the last 2 months or so in Japan. How have you been doing your work? How have you been working on this project?
Well, I never imagined I'd get to work with ray tracing real time to begin with, let alone from a laptop anywhere in the world. So I can do that, and then after I'm finished, go get some ramen for dinner.
Awesome. So yeah, this entire space working with Leo was all done remote on an RTX laptop. So really cool. Thank you guys. So next up, I would like to introduce Juan Salvo. Juan is the founder of the Color Space and is a world-renowned finishing artist, working with artificial intelligence to improve his video productions and enhance his video productions. So I'd like to turn it over to Juan to take us through it.
Thanks so much, Jason. Yeah, it's a real pleasure to be here. You know, at the Color Space, really our primary job is trying to make images look their best. And like all creative professionals, we're being asked to do more and more, faster and faster. So I wanted to show you today a few ways in which we're kind of leveraging the power of Nvidia GPUs and DaVinci Resolve 16 here to kind of make that possible. So often our work actually begins on set, on location. You know, we're tasked with doing things like getting all the shots together, importing the footage, and kind of preparing it for editorial. Right off the bat here, I want to show you a quick way in which we're using the DaVinci neural engine to kind of maximize our metadata and get some really useful information for editors. So I can right-click on these clips that I just took, and I can say analyze clips for people. And this is a new feature inside of Resolve 16, which will, cancel on here, sorry, which will actually go through and analyze those shots and find people in those shots and catalog where they appear in a scene. So I can actually go through and see all of the shots that this actor is featured in. Obviously, you know, when we get footage in, it's often in this kind of log state. It looks a little flat and washed out. We want to really make it look its best and make it fit with the rest of the show. So, and of course, color is the core feature of DaVinci Resolve. So I can very quickly apply a grade on here and get kind of the image looking right and get our shots looking nice and beautiful. Sometimes, you know, you'll have production issues or lighting issues, and you'll want to tweak certain things. We want to make sure everybody looks great. So one really useful feature that we have inside of DaVinci Resolve 16 here is this face refinement tool. What this allows us to do is kind of analyze the shot, and it'll go through and actually find the geometry of the face. You can see there it's tracking the chin, the lips, the nose, the eyes, the eyebrows. And so once we have this geometry tracked using the DaVinci neural engine and the power of the GPU here, we're able to go through, and I can actually show you, we can do things like, for example, smooth out the skin a little bit, maybe brighten them up. You know, we want to make sure they're well lit. We can do a little bit of eye retouch so we can really see kind of the eyes brighten up a little bit. You know, we can sharpen them up to make them pop a little, right? We can do a little bit of an eye light for like that romantic kind of lighting style, right? And so I'm able to do that very, very quickly, make drastic changes to the scene. And because I've used AI to track this space already, it's already tracking perfectly. You can see it's tracking with her lips, with her nose, with her eyes, very, very quickly.
That is really cool. I'll give you the video.
Yes, I'll start. That's another service we provide. Is the personal face tracking service. So one other thing I want to show you here, obviously any program needs an opening title sequence, and our program here is no exception. You know, we have this lovely shot of Taipei here. And, we could, just throw a show title over this shot. And, this is maybe the traditional way in which you would do typography or chirons over video. But, this is a special presentation. We want to make this a little bit more punchy. So one of the tools that we have available to us inside of DaVinci Resolve 16 in the Fusion page here is a tool called the Camera Tracker. And the Camera Tracker basically lets you go through, and we're going to load it up here. I'm just going to tell it to track the green channel. I'm going to say auto track. And what you'll see is it'll start pulling the 8.3 million pixels of a frame, analyzing it for features that it can track, pulling the next 8.3 million pixels, analyzing those, and tracking the movement of these features from one frame to the next to the next. So it's literally computing on the GPU billions of pixels into thousands of points, and then it takes those points and tries to compute out what the camera was doing in the scene. So we actually recreate the movement of the camera. So what this lets us do is, rather than just adding, simple titles over video, we can add a title in the scene. And we can tell our stories a little bit better that way.
That's really awesome. So using the power of artificial intelligence inside of video workflows, being able to make adjustments to a single frame, and then via face tracking and AI to apply those same adjustments to all the frames in a scene. This is incredibly powerful, time-saving features that are GPU accelerated and really just possible because of GPU technology and working with partners like DaVinci Resolve. Amazing stuff. So, Juan, as an artist, you probably have multiple projects you're always working on. You made time to come out to Computex, but I'm sure you still got to keep working. How to do that?
Sure. One of the things that makes it viable are these new sort of workstation class performance notebooks. I was able to, for example, we came out here, and I have another client who's exhibiting a video here at the conference, and they had a last-minute tweak. I was able to have them post a file for me to download. I downloaded it on my laptop, and I was actually able to work on it on the road. So, we're talking about creatives being asked to do more and more. Sometimes we're asked to do things in strange places and on trips, and so that's just the reality of working very professional. It's great to be able to do it anywhere.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Juan.
Thank you.
Last but not least, it is my pleasure to introduce Daniel Gregoire. Daniel is the CEO and founder of Taiwan Entertainment, which is a visualization company based out of Hollywood, working with film studios and game companies to create amazing visualizations. And has worked most recently on a film you may have heard of called Aquaman, and is going to share that with us. Dan, thank you.
Great, thanks Jason. Thank you for having me. So we've been working in this field for about, Halon's been around for about 17 years, and I've personally been working in feature films now for 20 years. Time goes by. And I've been a director and a creator over that period of time, both for pre-visualization on feature films, but also games, as well as many other projects, including ride films. And what I'd like to show you today involves the visualization of part of the third year it's going to be to get approval from all the parties involved to move the shot, to the final visual effects process. But even more importantly, when we work with the director, there's a lot of changes that happen. Like I said, this went through 82 different revisions. And as you can tell, there's a lot of things going on in here. And I think I forgot to mention earlier, this is actually about 172 million polygons in here. So it's not a light scene either. And so what I'd like to do is I'm actually going to change this just a little bit to demonstrate just a little bit about how flexible this can be and how working on a laptop in a director's office with the director sitting over your shoulder can be such a powerful way to work. I'm actually going to go in and change the focal length of this shot on the fly. So right now it's a 40 millimeter lens, probably based on some kind of anamorphic camera. I forget what they shot this on, but let's say I want to come in here at the end and do a little snap zoom to get a little bit more impact on the carafe and biting the clamshell. So I'm just going to set a keyframe here at that time, and then I'm going to go to the big chomp here, boom, and then I'm going to zoom in on that, maybe a 50 millimeter lens, just to get a little bit more impact on that bite. In fact, you know what? Let's get a little tight. Let's do a 75, because you can never get too close to a big explosion like that. So you can see it animated here between 40 and 75, and then I'm just going to play that back so you can see the impact of the shot. Boom. So there we go. And it's really that simple. And since it's playing live, I can walk this into a director's office. They can make the changes. They can see them right there, right away, instead of me going back to my office, rendering it out, putting it into a cut, and then calling them the next day and saying, okay, you can look at this now. We can get this done now, today, without having to wait. And this means the shot can get turned over to visual effects and get moving through the production process that much sooner and more efficiently.
Awesome, Dan. That was really amazing stuff. And I don't know if you noticed that clamshell, curved surface, reflections off of a curved surface, super hard to do, critical with to have ray tracing for something like that. And Dan, you've been doing this for a while. What was your life like before high-performance laptops?
Sure. So, in my office, I work on the desktop, but we also go on set a lot. We field teams all over the world, actually. And we typically ship desktop workstations in Pelican cases to these locations, including on set, etc. And these things, they're big, they're very powerful, but they're heavy, and they can be a little inconvenient at times, especially when you're in a small trailer on set. And so now, I can put this, in my backpack. It's right over here. In fact, I have another RTX-enabled laptop in my backpack that I work on regularly. And that means that, I can just walk on the set, show things, and have just as much power there as I would sitting at my desk back in the office.
Awesome. That is fantastic. So, much of what we've shown here has been done before. In a large studio, on high-end workstations. But what we're showing here that's the first is being able to do this for an individual artist on a laptop that can be taken anywhere. And this is what is going to change how 40 million creators work. The power of RTX laptops enabled by ray tracing and artificial intelligence. So, thank you.
That's really awesome, and thank you for joining us here today. That was really great. Demos were terrific, and I'm glad that we're able to change your lives a little way. Thank you. Okay, so I know I talked about an RTX Studio laptop, but in fact, it isn't just a laptop. I mentioned that part of our studio platform is making it accessible to creators all around the world. And that we do that with partners, of course, as we always have. We're announcing today that there's 17 Nvidia Studio laptops that are going to be available starting in June. You should be able to see them all around Computex, Acer, Asus, Dell, Gigabyte, HP, MSI, Razer, the first set of global partners. Over on the side of the room, when we wrap up, majority of these laptops are available to play with and see, running creative apps. And the price points of these laptops are starting high performance, high res laptops starting at $1599. Super exciting. We're really excited about the Nvidia Studio laptops. Okay, so with that, let me wrap up. First of all, ray tracing is next-gen gaming. RTX GPUs, most powerful GPUs in the world. Best for what? Best power efficiency. Most advanced GPUs in the world. And we are redefining gaming. The apps are coming. Announcing 25 new laptops, bringing the total of laptops available this year to 125. This includes the gaming laptops and the studio laptops we just talked about. And announcing Nvidia Studio platform. Together, we're going to go target those 40 million creators. We're going to show them what's possible in their new workflows on a Nvidia Studio laptop. Really excited about this. We thank our partners for joining in this pursuit, the OEMs, the ISVs, and of course, the platform that we've developed inside of NVIDIA. So with that, thank you all for joining us, Computex 2019. I hope you all have a super Computex. Thank you.